Hello everyone. So this is your tutor Jainam Patani. I'm gonna be teaching to you today jumping cat. Okay, so let's start with introduction of this platform. What is this platform known as? So the name of this platform is Scratch programming. Okay, so in this platform, I'll be teaching you first. I'll be starting with what is this all about. So in left hand side over here, if you see, this is known as toolbox. So basically, from here you will be dragging all the codes and you'll be putting over here. Okay, what is toolbox? Toolbox is a box containing lots and lots of code. So similarly, over here also there are lots and lots of code. So now, what to do with this code? We'll be dragging the code, we'll be putting it over here. Wherever we have put, this place is known as workspace. So over here, we'll be writing all the code, and suppose I've written move 10 steps. So now, where can I see its output? So in right hand side, this place, this section is known as stage. So if I click on this, then the cat is moving 10 steps. So in left hand side section, it is known as toolbox containing lots and lots of code. Over here, this is a workspace. We'll be putting a code over here, and over here, this is a stage where we can see our output. Okay, now this icon, this is known as sprite. Okay, so we'll be putting a sprite. What is sprite? Characters such like this, and there are many more characters, so we can add any of the characters which we want. And over here, suppose I don't want this simple white background, I want some other background. So suppose I'm clicking on this Arctic and I've got one background. Okay, so now we know how to add sprites and how to add background. Okay, perfect. So now today we'll be making jumping cat. Okay, so in Google, whenever your net search down, there will be one game of dinosaur and there will be cactus coming and you will be avoiding that cactus and you'll be jumping on it. This is the similar game which you'll be making. So let's start with it. First, I don't want this backdrop, so I'll be going to backdrop and I'll be deleting it. I'll be getting one background which is blue sky. Okay, now I'll be getting my resources. So I already have this cat, so I'll be putting it over here. Now I've got a background, I've got a cat. So now what I'll be having? Obstacle. So this time I'll be going to the sprites and I'll be getting one obstacle. Going to animals, there are many sprites. Okay, there are n number of sprites. So we'll be clicking on any one of it. For example, if I'm clicking on this crab. Okay, now and obstacle I'll be putting over here. Now the size of the obstacle should be smaller than size of the cat. So what I'll be doing is, over here there's a size 100, I'll be making it as 50. I think now it's proper. Perfect. So now similarly I'll be adding all the obstacles. So now I won't be adding new sprites. Okay, so how do I want? First let's think about it. So I want this obstacle to glide from this place to this place. Now what does the word glide means? Glide means from moving from one place to the another. So this crab will be moving from this place to this place and then it will be changing to another sprite. So I have to add these sprites, right? So now I'll be going to its costume. I don't want this second costume, so I'll be simply deleting it by clicking on this bin. Okay, perfect. So now I'll be going to sprites. Okay, and now I'll be going to animals and I'll be adding 3 more costumes. Suppose I'm adding this bat. I'm adding, okay, let's find out. Let's go to animals and let's scroll down. So suppose I'm adding this, and the last one, let's add one snake. So I'll be searching snake and I've got one. Okay, perfect. So now I've got my all the 4 obstacles. Okay, so the name of the sprite, it's sprite 1, I'll rename it as cat. Perfect. Now I'll be renaming it as obstacle. Okay, perfect. Now what do I want? I'll be clicking on the crab. Okay, I'll be setting up its position over here. So whenever the game starts, the crab will be over here. Okay, will be appearing over here. Perfect. Now I'll be clicking on bet. Now, whenever the game starts, I don't want this bat to glide from this position. So what I'll be doing is, firstly I'll be clicking on this minus magnifying glass so that it is basically zoom out. Okay, so I'll be clicking on it and I'll be zooming it out. I'll be selecting it as a whole. I've selected it as a whole. And now I'll be clicking up arrow key so that, okay, wait, I'm clicking and you have to see. I'm just clicking up arrow key, I am not dragging it. Okay, perfect. So now I've clicked up arrow key and I've changed the position of the bat. Okay, so now since it is a bat, a flying bird, so mammal, flying mammal, so it will be over here and it will be gliding from this position. Perfect. So now if I change the position of the bat, shall we see that the crab position is the same, or is it also changed? No, it isn't changed. But if I drag this, then the position of the bat will change. That is why I used up arrow key. Similarly, I'll be using this. Now the problem with this is it's facing rightwards. Okay, I want it to face leftwards. So over here, can you see flip horizontal? Yes. So we'll be clicking on flip horizontal. Perfect. Now I'll be selecting it again and I'll be clicking up arrow key to, okay, perfect. Now same thing I'll be doing with snake. Again, what I'll be doing is I'll be flipping it horizontal. I'll be clicking up arrow key to move for the perfect position. Okay, now it is perfect. So now let's see that all our costumes. First one is crab. Okay, it is correctly placed. Okay, shall I make it move downwards? Yeah, now it is perfect. Now let's click on bat. Okay, bat is also perfect, so it won't be touching the cat sprite. Okay, perfect. Or I can make it move more upwards. Perfect. Then I'll be clicking on the third animal. Third animal is also perfect, and I'll be clicking on snake. Snake is also perfect. Okay, so now I'm done with all of my resources. So now let's start with a code. So now what do I want is, I want first let's write code for our cat. If you see over here, the cat is in a stable position. I want to create a motion in it, a kind of animation that it is running. So if you go to cat's costume, there are two costumes, cat 1, costume 1 and costume 2. So in costume 1 the cat is in a stable position, and in costume 2 the cat is in a running position. So I'll be writing a code is, when green flag clicked, that means when this green flag is clicked, then what do I want? I'll be running a forever loop. What is forever loop? Whatever code I put inside the forever loop will run forever, okay, till the game ends, okay, or until and unless the person or the person who is playing the game clicks on red flag. Perfect. So what is loop? Loop is something which goes on and on and on. So over here this is a forever loop. So whatever code I'm putting inside, for example I'm putting next costume. So let's put next costume and let's see, is it okay? I have created a motion in it, but it's a bit faster. Yes, it is. So now I'll be telling computer that, hey, you're changing the costume but it's a bit faster, so I'll be putting wait for 0.1 second. Now let's see. Okay, it's perfect, and if it's slower, then I can make it also 0.05. Even this is perfect. Okay, so now what have I done is, since the motion was a bit faster, then I have put wait for 0.05 seconds. Okay, perfect. Now what? Now whenever the game starts, I want my cat to appear on this position only. So what? So I'll be putting one code that go to this position. So I'll be going to motion and I'll be putting this code, go to x minus 182 and y minus 107. So students, what is x-axis and y-axis? In graph paper or in grid, there is x-axis and y-axis. Y-axis is a vertical axis, okay, and x-axis is the horizontal one. Okay, so if you ever seen a number line, in a number line there is a 0, and right hand side it goes positive numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, in left hand side it goes by negative number like -1, -2, -3. So over here, right now the coordinate on which my cat is present is minus 182 on x-axis and minus 107 on y-axis. Perfect. So now I put the code that whenever green flag is clicked, I want my cat to be over here. So if I'm changing its position and now I'll be clicking on green flag, my cat will be go over here. Perfect. Okay. Clear? Now let's continue. Now what do I want is I want this cat to jump whenever the space key is pressed. So I'll be going to events. I'll be putting this code when space key pressed. That means whenever the particular space key is pressed, then what? Then what do I want? I want my cat to jump, go upwards and then come back to the original position. So I'll be going to motion. In motion there is one code which is glide. I already said in the start that glide means moving from one place to another. So I'll be putting this code glide. Okay. So now, wait a second. Okay. So now, right now, the y-axis. Okay. So as I said, y-axis is a vertical axis. Moving upwards and getting back downwards, it's a vertical movement. So now, if I want this cat to move upwards, I'll be changing its y position. So suppose it is minus 107 over here. So if I want it to move upwards, so I want it to go over here, so I'll be making it 0. And since it has went upwards, so I'll be putting another code glide so that it come downwards. Let's see. Perfect. But it's a bit slower. So over here it is written as glide 1 second to x and 1 second to y. Like means that glide 1 second whenever you go upwards, it will take 1 second, but it is a bit slower, so I'll be making it as 0.3 over here and 0.3 over here also. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. Now whenever the cat jumps, I want to put some sound effect. So how will I be doing it? I'll be going to sound and I'll be just putting start sound meow. So now I have put a code start sound meow. So let's see how it works. Perfect. It's working perfectly. Okay. Now what do I want? I want these obstacles to glide from rightwards to leftwards. So now let's go to obstacle. Now I'll be starting with when green flag is clicked. So now what do I want? There are total 4 obstacles. 1, 2, 3 and 4. What do I want is I want the obstacles to change its costume after every second. No problem, we'll be writing the code for it. What will be the code? First I'll be saying is I'll be running a loop. Why forever loop? Because this is a continuous process. So I'll be running a forever loop. In this forever loop, what I'll be doing is I'll be going to looks. In looks, what I'll be saying is first hide, then show, and between hide and show I want it to change the costume. Let's see. It is changing costume. Now we are done with making it change the costume. Now what do I want? I want it to glide. So first I'll be assigning it a position the way I have did for cat, go to. So I'll be going to obstacle, motion, and I'll be just putting go to. So now if I make it move over here, if I click on it, I'll be getting it over here. Perfect. Now what do I want? The position has been assigned. Now I want it to glide. So from rightwards to leftwards. So I'll be putting glide 1 second to suppose the x-axis. Now I'll be changing my x-axis. Why? Because this is an horizontal movement. Okay, left and right, it's an horizontal movement. So I'll be changing my x-axis, which is an horizontal axis. Okay, perfect. So right now the x-axis over here it's 202, and let's over here also it will be minus 200. So let's make it as minus 200. Let's see, let's run. Perfect. Perfect. So it's running properly. So how is it working? Hide. So first it is hiding. Then next costume, it will be changing its costume, and then show. Then the position of this has been assigned, and then glide. Again hide. Next costume glide. Next costume glide, and it goes on. Perfect. We are done with this. Now what do I want? I will be making one variable which is a score variable. Okay, now what is a variable? Variable is something which stores a, okay, so variable is a container. Okay, variable is a container which stores a value. Okay, so whenever you play any game, there is a variable score. At the start the value of the score will be 0. When you start playing the game, the score keep increasing, 1 200 200. So the score is a variable, and then 1 2 the score, the value. Okay, 1 2, that's a value, okay, which is stored inside the score. Okay, perfect. So we'll be going to variables and we'll be making a variable which is score. I have made a variable score. Now what do I want? Whenever green flag is clicked, so whenever green flag is clicked, I'll be setting my score variable as 0, because when the game starts I want my score to be 0. See over here, the value of the score is 0. Perfect. Now what do I want? Whenever I want to see the cat over here, okay, it is taking 1 second to glide. Okay, so I'll be increasing my score every 1 second. So again this is a continuous process, so I'll be using a forever loop. Inside a forever loop, what I'll be doing, that wait for 1 second. Okay, wait for 1 second and then increase your score by 1. Then increase my score by 1. So like first it will be 0 1 2 3. Okay, so how does it work? Whenever the cat jumps, or it has successfully avoided the obstacle, then the score will increase. How will come to know that cat has successfully avoided the obstacle? Because the obstacle is taking 1 second to glide. Okay, and it is able to jump. Then then the score will increase by 1. Okay, if it touches the obstacle, then the game will end. So now let's write code for that. That whenever it touches the obstacle, the game should end. So I'll be writing the code that when green flag clicked, I'll be running a forever loop, because this is a continuous process. In this continuous process, I'm giving a condition that hey, if this cat touches to the obstacle, so I'll be putting this condition that if it touches the obstacle. So if it touches the obstacle, then what do I want? I will be broadcasting a message. What will be the message? Okay, the message will be game over. Okay, it's up to you. You can broadcast any other message also. So new message, and I'll be writing game over. Okay, perfect. Now what is happening over here? So whenever it touches the obstacle, the computer gets to know game over. But computer doesn't know what to do when I receive this game over. So let's tell the computer that when you receive game over, when I receive game over, then first thing I want is I'll be putting one message which is say message of the cat will say game over. Okay, so the message will appear as game over. Then I'll be putting one sound effect. To put one sound effect, I'll need to get one sound. So I'll be clicking on this sounds. I'll be clicking over here, and I'll be searching one sound. The name of the sound is loose. I'll be clicking on it. I've got the sound. Let's play with this sound. Okay, let's get back to the code, and I'll be putting the code play sound loose until done. So it will be playing the sound. So whenever the computer receives game over, it will be putting one message game over and this sound. Perfect. And then since the game has been over, so now what do I want? I'll be stopping everything. So I'll be going to control. I'll be putting stop all. Perfect. Okay, I'll be writing let's run the game. Okay, now you'll be wondering that sir has put stop all, then also why the game is still running? Because I have put stop all for this cat. I haven't put the stop all message for obstacles. So I'll be doing this. So now what I'll be doing is same thing. When I receive game over, When I reach a game over, then what? Then I'll be going to my controls, and I'll be just putting this code stop all. Now let's run the code. Alright. So now my obstacle is also stopping. Now let's run the game. Let's see, is this game proper or not? Okay. I'll be clicking on my green flag and I'll be starting with the game. The score right now is 0 and you have to focus on the score too. Oh, perfect. So at the start of the game my score was 0. Then whenever I started jumping, I started avoiding those obstacles, my score started increasing by 1. Okay. So yeah, we are done with today's game, which is jumping cat. I hope you have enjoyed the lecture. I hope you have understood the logic, code and concept. And yeah, so this is Jainam